cut to the chase. This is a brief clip from the YoJoe Show Podcast, where we dive into everything: politics, tech, aviation, space, science, health, and medicine. Stick around for conversation that clips right to what matters.
How about the new thing in Minnesota with the Somalians? They stole, now it came out, the great U.S. attorney up there, they came out, think of this, $9 billion, and they think that's just the beginning. They stole, think of it, in their country, they live on nothing, they have nothing. They come here and they steal $9 billion. Are we stupid? I mean, how do we allow that to happen? Ilhan Omar should be sent out of our country. She should not be allowed to be a congresswoman. She married her brother either to stay or to get him into the country. And yesterday she, I guess, made up a story. She said the police attacked her son. They stopped a car and the police said, we never attacked him. We never stopped. It was a made-up story. She's a con person. She's full of con. She says, zero. She said, you ought to get her the hell out of our country. That's what you ought to do.
So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelt learning wrong. They've received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
99 children.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None, not at all.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know, where are the kids?
I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like
Never
that
seen
here.
a child here.
No.
Massive
How
fraud
does
is
that make
going
you
on
feel?
here in the state of Minnesota, especially in Minneapolis. Explain to me what's going on with the daycares.
So one of the things that I've noticed is there's an exceptional number of child care centers that are set up mostly in Minneapolis, but also in St. Paul. And I said, wow, how many kids are there in the Twin Cities? Some of them are by my office, and I would watch, and I said, well, there aren't any kids there. And I'd go to another one, there aren't any kids there, and I'd see just some Somali guys outside smoking cigarettes. So I stopped at one of them, and I said, hey, I'm just wondering, I've got a grandson who's looking for childcare, and I wonder if this might be a good facility. And they said, no, we're all full. And they had the door open, and I looked, and there were no kids. There was like a couch and a table with a couple chairs, and I said, well, are the kids out back playing, or what kind of place is this? And the guy said, you go, and he almost pushed me out the door, and then he followed me down the street to my car, and that's when I said, wait a minute, there's something going on here, and that's got to be maybe 5 years ago. This fraud is so massive. When the dust settles on this, it's going to be found to be the largest fraud in the history of the country and probably the world. It's that big.
The ones that Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar, alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud, held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House Oversight Investigation role in his role as governor. Or Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire fraud.
Well, it's home for the holidays season, so, not only are we returning those kiddos back to their families that Biden lost, we also are saying that if you voluntarily want to go home now to your country, if you're in this United States of America illegally, we will give you $3,000 through the holidays to send you home. We'll buy you a ticket, give you $3,000 to go home, and that includes people that have not been detained, maybe have interacted with us, are detained and don't have criminal charges against them. Yeah, raise your hand. We'll help you get home. We'll facilitate it, and you might get the chance to come back to this country the right way someday. If you wait until we interdict you and detain you and arrest you and have to deport you ourselves, you'll never get the chance to come back. So go on the CBP Home app and get the information, and we'll make sure you get home.
Now to the grapevine. So ending up with the strangest anti-ICE protest I've ever seen. They're dancing to 80s themed aerobics music, dancercise or whatever they called it, in front of an ICE facility. I don't know.
They look like clowns, to be honest. That's the truth.
Do you think that is in any way moving the needle in any direction other than having people laugh at them?
I think sometimes people protest just so that they can feel that they're doing something to assist their horrific, horrible, traumatizing white guilt. And maybe that's helping them feel better about it. But the story with the Somalis is a real one. The first $9 billion, what was that for? They were caught doing?
The question is just how much, but we're talking at least 9 billion. They're talking maybe multiples of that. And that's just the stuff that's being shown out of Minnesota.
But that wasn't the daycares. That was before the daycares. That was something else.
So there's daycare, there's a feeding program, there's daycare for adult children, autism programs also.
Yes, I think the 9 billion was purely autistic children. That was 9 billion. And then the next one discovered was this whole daycare scam. And now, like you said, feeding scams, there's the home health scams now are coming out in Pennsylvania and in Ohio. It's being discovered that Washington State and Oregon, this is just incessant. It's happening everywhere.
Ohio, Pennsylvania. There's questions as to where else this is happening.
Everywhere,
now,
probably.
Nick Shirley, who's an independent journalist,
phenomenal.
A YouTuber, basically, as he describes himself, he describes this as probably his most significant work yet, which I agree. He goes to various protests and often is chased around by the protesters, does an excellent job, stays calm in the face of people wanting to tackle him to the ground. But this is a little different. So there's a guy named David, the other gentleman that's with him, who for the last several years has just been asking questions on his own and has been wondering about all this because he noticed that there were businesses in his community that were supposedly daycares. I've never seen any children over there. So he started literally pulling records, public record information, and essentially shared this with Nick. And now Nick has a story. We'll put a link in the description. The full main story on this is just over, I think, 40 minutes long. And they go around the city and just basically find in one day something like $110 million just from as they tabulate it. That's one day in one city. So the scope of this is so massive, and we don't even know yet. So there's questions as to whether Ilhan Omar, so we have elected officials that are at the federal level, we have elected officials at the state level. The former running mate to Kamala Harris, Tim Walz is the governor, and he's been, alleged to have connections to some of this. If nothing else, they had a responsibility to have caught this and stopped it. And we're talking numbers that are for 1 year, 2 years, who knows how many years some of this stuff's been going on. And it just happens that in Minnesota, a lot of it seems to be tied to a specific community, which is the Somalis. Embrace it.
Also, the scenarios in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Washington, and Oregon have also been Somalis. It's funny because Somalia is known as like the country of pirates because back 10, 15 years ago, they tried to attack every ship that goes up by the Bab el-Mandeb Strait and conquer it for pirate reasons. And then we welcomed them into the United States, and suddenly we realized that they're pirating taxpayer money here in the United States. And then some people say, oh, they're poor, they need it, whatever. First of all, it doesn't mean that they can steal taxpayer money. Definitely not at such scales, but it's also been traced that a lot of that money is being sent back to Somalia into the hands of the Al-Shabaab terror organization. So now it turns out that a lot of this money is actually funding ISIS derivatives. Al-Shabaab swore their allegiance to ISIS. So this is money going to ISIS. It's our taxpayer money going to ISIS. After what we've discovered about USAID and about so many other funds that were being diverted to terrorism, this now too, money that's there to help autistic kids and the homeless kids and the needy and just young children who need to go to school is being diverted and wasted in this manner, a huge scale. And it's turning out that the entire communities were not entire, I don't want to say everybody in the community, but huge swaths of these communities were taking part. They were putting down their names. With the home health scam, it's very easy. Everybody says they have to take care of their mom, their dad. They can get $80,000. It's $150,000. They take care of their in-laws. Now it's $250,000. They're just printing money sitting at home doing nothing.
We hope you found our clip segment informative. For more content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and watch the full episode.